Hey, this is David Owen.
And this is Marian Cowigowan.
And this is You Show Me Yours, a podcast where a married couple talks about the movies and television that they loved before the first date. And this time, I was made to watch Patriot Games.
Yes, it's the thriller about the IRA and Harrison Ford, except not the one with Brad Pitt. Because yes, did you know there's two movies that basically are the same?
What?
Harrison Ford versus the IRA. Yeah. This is the one without Brad Pitt. That one came later. And we'll probably talk about that later too. But no, this is the 1992 Jack Ryan movie with Harrison Ford taking over Jack Ryan role from Alec Baldwin. And he fights Sean Bean, or as we could call him now, Sean Bean, because they're spelled the same. Fun fact that I learned, did you know that Sean Bean, his birth name is Shaun, and he changed the spelling?
Oh, yeah. I've heard that. There's
Yes.
a comedian that has a bit on that.
Yes.
That's like, he did it on purpose.
That's kind of like, except like, why would you do that? Because you can't, now I don't know how to pronounce anything. That's like in North Carolina, the Secretary of Labor inspects the elevators. And so her signature is on a placard in every elevator in the state. Well, yes, she's no longer in the role, but and for a long time, the woman who held that role, her name was, I believe it's Cherie Berry.
Yeah.
But I was like, you can't, no, if it doesn't rhyme, you're just confusing me. So here, same thing, like Sean Bean or nothing, baby. Anyway, Sean Bean is in this one.
Nice.
So now I've seen this like 50 bazillion times. I know it way too well. You were not sure you had seen this, right? When we talked about it?
No, I had not seen this.
You hadn't. Yeah. Okay. So this was all right. Yeah. This is all part of the Jack Ryan verse, and it all sort of blends together after a while because there's 4 movies and a TV show and 50 bazillion books, and it all blends together. But this is, if you look at the official Ryanverse catalog, this is based on the second book in the series. And if you take all of the books and put them in the order of the events that are happening in the books, it's still the second. It's where the Jack Ryan character is. It's the first Jack Ryan character book. Because I can't even explain it. Chronologically, the first book is about his father.
Okay.
But the first book published was Hunt for Red October, which is the one that I've never seen.
Is this Clance?
Yeah.
Okay. The Clance.
The Clance verse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie's kind of boring.
What?
Like, I like it, but
there's a lot going on. Yeah.
It's a lot. It has a lot of Condor DNA in it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like, we're sitting in a room and we're figuring things out. Like, I was just struck by how, there's that back in the 90s and stuff, when I was sort of in my own spare time studying film and thinking like, oh, maybe I could find some way to be a director or a screenwriter. I came across an article, and I can't remember where it was or where I read it, but it was basically like, go back and watch The Maltese Falcon, which I think this was shortly after the AFI 100, Top 100 had come out. It was like, go watch some of these top 10 movies that are like from the 50s and 60s. You will not be able to get through them as a modern moviegoer. And now we are about as far from this movie as I was then from Maltese Falcon.
Oh, dear Lord, that's terrifying.
30 years or so or whatever it is. So, Maltese Falcon was a little older than that, I think. Yeah. But we're 30 or 40 years of cinema change. And now I am at that point with this movie where I'm like, oh my God, my film sensibilities have changed in such a way that I'm just like, okay, I got it. Yeah. Like you're just, okay. Like they put a tremendous amount of effort into the setup for this movie. So much so that like 80% of it does not need to be shown. And it's this sort of thing of like, I'm just sitting there the whole time going like, all right, man, I get it. Like this guy is crazy.
Can we move on with the revenge plot?
He's now his brother. Do we need this trial? What's the point of all of this? He hates him. The trial is not making him hate him anymore.
Revenge,
Sure.
Dave. Revenge.
But, yeah. But this was directed by Philip Noyce.
Nice.
Noyce. And I don't know how you say that at all, but he also directed the follow-up, The Clear and Present Danger. He also did The Saint, which is Val Kilmer, which is a very...
I think I've seen that.
He is probably most known for probably like Rabbit Proof Fence, I think is his big thing.
Oh, that one's so good. And it's so... Have you seen
yes,
that? Okay,
yes.
that's one I thought about bringing on here, but it's so sad.
Yes. And he also did... I was looking for it. Where did it go? The Bone Collector with Denzel Washington, which is I remember watching that when it first came out.
I think I've seen that too. I couldn't tell you a thing about it though. Is he in a wheelchair?
He's paralyzed or something. He's in a bed and she's bringing him the evidence or whatever. But he also did Dead Calm, which is, I think that's the one about surgeons. Is that the one about surgeons? I can never remember.
No.
Is it the one about? There's the one movie about twin surgeons. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But I think it might be. Anyway,
we like Philip Noyce though.
We like his name.
His work is very Noyce.
Yeah. And so I imagine he has lived through this as someone who was directing stuff back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Television shows and movies, and then all the way till today. He's still a working director. Occasionally, I think calling someone a journeyman is sort of a slight in a lot of industries, but he really is just sort of a reliable director. You know, he's going to be able to usher something through to the end.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have some semblance of, a vision, but probably not going to win any Oscars, anymore, make anything that's in contention for that sort of stuff. But he's just one of those guys. He's just one of those guys that's like, we need a movie directed. We need someone who's going to get it done. I feel like he's probably got that reputation of like, he's going to get it done. Like it's not going to.
That's not a bad reputation to have.
Yeah. But a great name if nothing else.
Well, yeah, there are some moments in this that drag a little bit, partly because it's spycraft, and that there are several fields that are like that where it's not showy at all. There's like one showy moment in like a month's worth of work, and the rest is just reading over spreadsheets and looking at photos, and you want to die because it's so boring, but you got to keep going. And it's hard to dramatize that. One thing also, they give Jack Ryan all of the hero moments in this spy story, even though he's not really a spy at that point. We will explain this, but I was thinking like, oh my God, these poor people. He just barged into their work and takes over, and he gets all the glory. Like that's not good. But
yeah, but he's supposed to have been like a legendary analyst before this, right?
Yes, I don't.
Who's now retired?
In the movie verse, they don't fully explain it. But hang on a second. So, I listened to the audiobook of this a year or so ago, and when I tell you they took out so much to make this movie, I bet. There's whole subplots about the Scene Bean character pulls in other rebel groups. There's some like I don't know if they're Nation of Islam or some black militant group. He pulls them in, and Jack and Kathy spend like months in England, and the person who is targeted for assassination is actually the Prince of Wales, and so it's very like, and this is set in 81, and so it's very Charles and Diana coded. And they meet the Queen at some point, and I think the Queen babysits for their kid. I mean, like, there's so much good. Like, he has a meeting in the Tower of London, and there's all these other characters, and like, there's so much they took out. So, like, if you thought there was a lot going on here, whoo boy, the books are. Well, I mean, any Tom Clancy books. I mean, they're like major city phone book thick. Yeah, like these are dense books.
A phone book was a large book that used to contain everybody's name, address, and phone number.
Yes.
If you're under 30 years old.
Yes. Or how about it's a family Bible thick book.
Sure.
A Bible, folks, is
Right.
Anyway, so here's let's do a brief Jack Ryan biography.
Okay.
So he's a Boy Scout, I wrote in my notes, because he is perfect in many, many ways. He's Alec Baldwin, Harrison Ford, Chris Pine. He's attractive. He's what are the Boy Scout traits? He's kind. He's thrifty. He's brave. He loves his wife. They have a lot of sex.
Yeah.
He's very smart. He is not an athlete, but he can defend himself when necessary. Although I adore Harrison Ford's fighting style in this and several other ones. In actually The Devil's Own, he does that too. He has this, like, he acquits himself well, like he punches out the person that is attacking him, but he does it in this flailing style.
Yeah, he's got a very awkward style of punching people where he like puts his whole body into it. So it looks convincing, but it also looks awkward, which is perfect. Yeah, which is perfect.
Because this is not a guy who punches people frequently.
Yes.
But the other thing that he does is when he's mad, he just puts up a finger.
Yeah, that's good.
Shakes it at people like, you know, like he holds his temper, but just barely, you know, and walks away. And this is great.
The thing that, and it happens in this movie, and it happens in a lot of Harrison Ford movies that I always love is like when Harrison Ford gets thrown to the ground or thrown into like a desk or something, and the camera is right at a low angle, and he lands right into the camera face first, and just has like a look of like, I guess I gotta fight this guy. And turns out like he does it in some of the Indiana Jones movies. He must do it in Air Force One.
It's very much like punch. Why did it have to be a punch? Like
now I gotta punch this guy with every inch of my body.
Yeah, but. Yeah, Harrison Ford is perfect for this. Like, I enjoy some of the other Jack Ryan properties, but he's so good because, like, he's an everyman, but when called for, he will do the thing that needs to be done.
Yeah, and I feel like we don't have a replacement for Harrison Ford. Like, every sort of everymanish hero guy like looks graceful when they fight.
Well,
like your Chris Pines and Hemsworths of the world, like they don't look awkward.
Well, they're all very choreographed and they're all very fit.
Yeah.
Like they all spend a lot of time in the gym.
Yes.
And they get, things waxed or, whatever. Like they're all very pretty.
Jeez.
Waxed. I'm saying, like, anyway. Harrison Ford, we saw, he's shirtless because he's in a sling, does not wax his chest and other. Anyway. Shut up. I'm in deprivation from my heated rivalry.
Yeah.
Boys.
You just can't, all you can think about is smooth men.
One of them is smooth, the other one isn't.
Oh, of course. I mean, there's something for everyone.
The rugged one is not smooth, and then the other one is. Anyway. Naturally. Anyway,
I bet he is smooth. Like, I bet he's not truly like he has chest hair, but he keeps it very well. I bet.
I don't know. I gave it up for Lent
because he doesn't have like weird upper arm hair like I have or anything like that. Like he waxes all the spots that would be weird if he had hair, and he keeps all the sexy spots.
I haven't thought about it that much. Clearly, you have.
Oh, I'm thinking about it right now.
Anyway,
because you're giving it up. I'm watching it every night.
I bet you don't even know.
Up there in the room after you go to sleep.
Can you please cut this part out? This is weird. Anyway, back to Jack Ryan. He's very good at that. He's very convincing as the everyman who is like forced into this fighting. Yeah. So, no, unfortunately, all the different Ryan properties they shape his backstory a little bit differently. But as best I can tell in the canon is he was in the Marines and was injured and had to leave the Marines and then was a CIA analyst and left that and then was a professor at Annapolis, which is where he is in this movie. And then he's pulled back into the CIA. And then from here, he's in the CIA. Then he rises in the ranks there and he eventually becomes president. And then his son becomes president. And it's just this dynasty.
Of the United States?
Yes.
This is Jack Ryan lore I did not know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no,
is there a movie where he's the president?
No.
Damn it.
He does not say, "Get off my plane."
Ben Affleck doesn't play him as the president?
No. Well, yeah, Ben Affleck is it's a retcon. He meets Kathy before. It's all the future movies love Jack and Kathy Ryan as newlyweds or when they're hot and heavy before kids, but this one anyway. You got me off my thought. I was
timeline president.
Yeah. Although yeah, unfortunately, the child of his that becomes president is his son, not his daughter, who in this movie is the lovely Thora Birch, who
Well,
I
she
think
doesn't
would
have
be
a
a great
spleen.
president. Well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
Thora Birch would be a great person.
Everyone is losing their spleen in things like in ER. That happened all the time. People would be in an accident and they'd lose the spleen, and I was like, why is this a big deal? You don't need it. But then I learned you actually kind of do.
Yeah.
To fight infection. But
yeah. It's not the appendix, which even still I think you do need
you kind of
that
do,
too.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It's nothing like the gallbladder, am I right?
Yeah.
You definitely don't need that.
No, you definitely don't. Anyway, so so in this movie, beginning, Jack Ryan is in London with his wife Kathy and his daughter Sally. It should be noted that Kathy's real first name is Caroline and Sally's name is Olivia Barbara. How did you get those nicknames from those? I don't know, but that never find out. He's in London to deliver a speech, and we see a little bit of it, and it is deadly dull. And so I'm glad that we only got the 30-second snippet.
Yeah.
But the Brits are very polite, and they just let him do it and be boring. And after that, he's meeting them afterward, and right next to what is a car bomb that we think is by the IRA, attacking what is he like? He's the secretary for Northern Ireland or something. He's got some connection to Northern Ireland. They call him a royal. He's like the Queen's second cousin or something like that.
Queen's cousin or something, I think they say.
This is originally, it was the Prince of Wales, but and the helpers around them are killed. The family in there are not killed because Jack Ryan steps in and saves them and steals somebody's gun and shoots one of the IRA people. And then the other one is arrested. The one who's arrested is Sean Bean. Yeah. The one who's killed is his little brother. Mm. And so now the revenge story starts.
Yeah.
Because we learn later that the brother's father was killed when they were kids, and I think right in front of him. When we were starting the movie, I was like, wait, doesn't this start with a scene where somebody comes in and kills the father? No, that's the Devil's Own. In the Devil's Own, Protestants, I think, come in and kill Brad Pitt's father right in front of his eyes. And that's why I know, exactly. Damn Protestants. That's why he has revenge in his heart forever. Mm-hmm. We don't see that here, but that's basically what happened. Which is important, I think, to remember when you're understanding anything about Northern Ireland. Let me get back to that. But yeah, just revenge in general is the theme for a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, after this, his brother's been killed and he's in prison, and Sean Bean is revenge on Jack Ryan. And it doesn't help that all the stories about this have a picture of Jack Ryan in his Marine uniform, like 4x6 on the front page of the newspaper, and giving all his details. Jack Ryan, a decorated Marine who lives at 14 Wallaby Way in Annapolis, Maryland, and whatever. So the rest of his associates who were not captured end up planning a prison escape to pull Sean Miller out. They save him. Miller is still vowing revenge. They go to the U.S. to try to attack Ryan and Sally and Kathy, and unsuccessful in all three. He thinks he's successful, so he goes to Northern Africa where they're having this training camp for what? I don't know. They're just practicing
for their war
shooting.
So as I was able to glean it is something like this guy. What is his name? Kevin.
Yeah.
Is that Kevin?
Yeah.
So he has essentially their actions have essentially framed the IRA.
Yeah.
And he is now trying to basically get the IRA out so that him and his little army can really put it to them damn Protestants.
Well, yeah. So
something like that. And I imagine like you said with the book, when they get more groups involved, it makes more sense. Mm-hmm. Like we don't really fully understand why they're welcome here in this North African training camp.
Well, did you notice? So there's a part later where so after the attack on Kathy and Sally, Jack goes to the CIA and it's like, I want back in. I am not asking you with my head in my hand. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. But he forces them away in. And they figure out that that Miller and the IRA group went to Northern Africa, and they know that there's a whole bunch of training camps for various rebel groups. And he's talking about, here's these ones, and we know this one is Shining Path. When was the last time you thought about Shining Path, the rebel group?
Yeah, no.
Do you even? They're
I remember that name.
Peruvian, I think.
Something.
I don't know. And he's all these other groups that haven't, like some East German, West German thing.
Yeah,
something was the PLO.
Like Gaddafi, something.
Yeah, the PLO, which doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like this is like a geopolitical rogues gallery from the late 80s, early 90s. And I was like, wow, okay, yeah. Anyway, so they figure out that they're there, but they can't. They try to capture them there. They don't in time. In the meantime, there's this subplot with. So we learn eventually that there's this squirrely little rare bookseller, Dennis Cooley, who he's like a courier. People who want to send messages to him, they bring in rare books for him with little messages inside, and he is connected to Lord Holmes is the royal. Dennis is connected to his secretary, who is like the super shiesty one, and the secretary passes on to the IRA. Here's when he's going to be here. He's the one who said, "Oh, the car is leaving Buckingham Palace or wherever it was at 10:15 a.m." and that's how they knew to be there. So Dennis Cooley ends up at the training camp because he realizes that his shop has been bugged, and he just pieces out. And then Miller just kills him.
Yeah,
for not really a reason. I thought, Dennis Cooley wants to go and join the war, and everybody's like, "No, you can't shoot." And he's like, "Yes, I can," and he can't, and so Miller kills him. And I was like, "That's okay." So,
he's a liability, right?
Well, and also now we know Miller is really a bad guy. If you didn't know that before, now you really do.
Yeah.
So then they have this final plan. They learn through Shiesty assistant that Lord Holmes is going to be at Jack Ryan's house.
I love though how you just hand waved away like a 30-minute portion of the movie where they're trying to figure out where they're doing satellite passes of this camp, and they see what might be a woman, and then they retask. They have to get the satellites retasked, and they retask the satellites, and then Jack Ryan has to make a presentation to convince James Earl Jones that they should go, and then it's just like that is like. That stuff is interesting, but that's the stuff when I say like the movie drags is because they could have just come like in a modern movie, it would be like, he would be like, well, we need proof. And then he would go back and he would sit down at his desk like, God, I need proof. And he would look and there'd be like a satellite image on his desk that like, when did these get brought in? And he would look at it and he would see the woman and he would circle her in red pen and run back to his office. And then the next scene would be the soldiers going after the base.
Would we still have the part where he looks at the picture? Because they've done enhance. And he looks and he goes, tits.
Yeah. Oh, there would still be, that would be it. He would see it on his desk. He would go, tits, and he would pick it up and look at it and circle both of them and put a dot in the middle, and then he would run.
The part about that is very confusing to me after watching this multiple times. I just realized. So our our core IRA people, Sean, who's Sean Bean, Kevin, who is played by Patrick Bergen, who I only know from Sleeping with the Enemy. He doesn't have the mustache, but it's the same guy. So automatically I'm like, villain, terrible. Like I can't, he's awful, deserves to die. And then his girlfriend, lover, whatever, Annette, who is played by Polly Walker, who is Portia in Bridgerton, by the way.
I don't know.
Range here. Anyway, so she makes use of wigs. As best I can tell, her natural hair color is she's a brunette. She's got a very cute, like Louise Brooks French bob bangs and the whatever. But so she has this thing where she early on in the movie she is she's tasked with assassinating some IRA person. And she sort of seduces him, and she's wearing a red wig, and they go up to the room in this motel, and they're about to have sex, and she shoots him, and then she takes off the wig, and she leaves. So we've established from this that red hair is not her natural color.
No.
So the thing that makes Ryan realize, oh, we're looking for a woman and tits, is he's in the CIA office and he's trying to figure out like who else, how do we find out where they are, blah, blah, blah. And he's wandering around in a daze, and he goes in the bathroom to splash water on his face, and he ends up in the woman's bathroom, and this woman is in there, excuse me, I think one of us is in the wrong room. And she leaves, and she kind of turns her head, and she's got red hair also, and the ponytail tosses.
Yeah.
And this reminds him of when he was in London, he saw a car go by at the bombing site, and someone turned their head and a red ponytail tossed. Yeah. And that he makes a connection. Why is she wearing a red wig to do bomb stuff when I assume you want to look as inconspicuous as possible?
Well, so yeah, I don't know, but I would say don't forget that they're trying to frame the IRA for this. So like it's almost having her in a red wig is like somebody's going to go, oh, she had red hair like one of them Irish.
Red hair is not nearly as common in Ireland.
I know it's not, but I'm saying like that is a stereotype. Like that is something you might play off of if you were trying to.
Not
now,
to British people.
The better question is, why does she bring the same wig to America?
Yes.
To attempt to kill Jack Ryan.
The second time, right.
That's the better question. Like,
right.
Just like it's the same wig she was wearing when she did the first assassination of the IRA guy. So
right.
Why was she wearing it in the next? It was just like the wig she brought with her. But then, why did she bring that same wig all the way to America to do it?
Blonde, long,
right. Could have been
there's
blonde,
so many other. Yeah, I don't. Just watching it this time, I was like, wait a minute, why? But anyway,
or maybe she only has one wig. Yeah.
Times are hard.
Yeah.
As they told us in the commitments, it's a third world country, so you got to make do with only one wig. Anyway, so Sean and Kevin and Annette and a couple of other people decide, okay, final revenge tour. Holmes is going to be at Jack Ryan's house. They have this whole plot, and this is where in the book the other rebel groups come in. They get people to come and kill the security guards and cut the power, and blah blah blah. Yeah. They cut the power. It's a stormy night, and so the Ryans think, oh, the storm knocked the power out. That's why they don't suspect anything.
Yeah, naturally.
And Jack Ryan, because he is all-seeing, all-knowing, figures out something's up.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Jeffrey, the shady assistant, is there, and he's killing people inside the house. And so Jack figures it out. They start to gather their guests and get out of here. So they're on the move before Sean Bean and company come in wetsuits and night vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's basically your standard
Clance move.
Your standard, third act drama. The Ryans go up into the attic and then out the window and down the roof, and the Sean Bean's following them, and blah blah blah. And then they take boats out into the Sound, and there's decoy boats, and they don't have the Royal. And here's where the revenge becomes clear. Sean Bean is after Jack Ryan for killing his brother, but the other two were like, no, we don't care about him. We care about the Royal.
Yeah.
And
there's a point when they realize the Royal's not on the boat.
Yes.
The cover blows off, and they're like, oh, it's not.
Yes.
He's not even there.
And Sean Bean is like, no, I only care about Ryan, and shoots them both.
Yeah.
And then he jumps on the boat with Ryan, and at some point his bullets have set the fuel on fire, and so the boat is just going full speed with the fire in the back. Yeah. And then they fight, and Harrison Ford does some awkward punching.
Yep.
And then eventually
Chekhov's anchor falls.
Yes. He pushes Miller back on it, and he dies. And then Harrison Ford jumps in the water, just as the boat, which is going full speed, crashes into the rocks and explodes.
Yeah.
The end. Except for a final scene where we learn this whole time Kathy's been pregnant, and they're about to learn if it's a boy or a girl, and then cut. It's a very Sopranos ending. Like, you're not going to find out. Spoiler, it's a boy. It's the baby who will one day be the president of the United States.
Nice.
But you don't find that out till the next movie. So a lot packed in there.
Yeah, geez.
But yes, you're right. So part of this whole, Kevin's goal is to...
I'm going to cut that part out.
Is to frame... What?
Huh? No, did I say that out loud?
Shut up.
Where you said I'm right, I'm just going to cut that out and just have it as a button that I can press. like the dogs and cats that use buttons. Uh-huh. I'm just going to have one that says, that's you saying, you're right. And I'm just going to hit it.
I'm just going to have one that says, bitch. Yeah. Like the Yorkie on the Yorkie. The thing. Anyway, so yes, you were saying that Kevin's goal is to frame the IRA. So
they want to pick the bones. They want the IRA. They want to kill the Royal so that the IRA will and the English will fight.
Yeah.
And then they want to like pick the bones of what's left.
So my understanding at this time was that the politics of Northern Ireland here were so thorny because you had the IRA, which was both a political party and a rebel wing, and the rebels in the IRA, the people who had been blowing up cars in London in the 70s, were slowly being brought to heel by the political wing, and they were being told, okay, like we want peace overall. You got to be legitimate. You can't do this, blah blah blah. Well, there's enough people in the IRA who, for example, saw their fathers killed in front of them, who were like, "F peace, no, we're gonna keep blowing shit up," and they keep making these side parties. And over the years, that the provisional IRA, the real IRA, and it's all like, it's like a hydra, like,
People's Front of Judea.
Yes,
People's
exactly.
Front.
There's always somebody who's got enough revenge, because revenge is bad. Remember, revenge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Who's got money and piss and vinegar, and they're and then they always say, "Oh, well, we're Irish rebels," and it gets back to the IRA, and that destabilizes them, and
yeah. It delegitimizes them.
Yes. But as we learn from not Dumbledore, Richard Harris, who is an actual member of the IRA, he says when the IRA does something, they claim it.
Yeah.
This was not claimed. It's not us, but nobody really believes him.
Right. They're like, sure.
Yeah.
That lady had red hair.
Right.
You expect us to believe that wasn't the IRA?
Right. We all saw the ponytail shaking. And I lost where I was going. But yeah, there is very complex geopolitically, and I don't fully understand enough of it to really explain it. But basically, yeah, it's just revenge bad is really what you get out of it. There's a part in the audiobook where Ryan at some point is talking with the Prince of Wales, who the intended victim here. And the prince is like, well, I'm not sure how much I can trust you with this. And Ryan's like, because I'm Irish American, which he is with the last name like Ryan. And he basically, and I was going to try to find a copy and look up actually what he says. And of course I couldn't do it in time, but it's basically like saying, like, I'm Irish American, but I'm not Irish. I don't live in the middle of this upheaval, and I can't possibly understand it. Which I think is important for Americans to remember, Irish Americans or any American. So as I've mentioned a couple times, most of my family came from Ireland at some point, a century or more ago. And when I think about the Irish conflict, so some of my ancestors came from Northern Ireland and some came from the Republic of Ireland, and it makes me a little sad to think about they all came from one country and now it's split up. But I have no concept of what it's like to live in a divided country, or what the violence was like, or anything. Like, I don't think it's an unreasonable position to think that the way the British treated the Catholics in Ireland, and that's mostly what it was, they treated the Catholics badly because the Protestants were acting differently. The way that they treated them was terrible. There were a lot of civil rights issues. It was basically, in the US, you don't think you can have racism among white people, groups of white people, but you can, and that's how it happened there, because it was very much like the ruling class versus the lower class, the Protestants ruling over the Catholics. And there was, put all the Catholics in the crappy neighborhoods and they can't vote and this and that. And so, like, I don't think it is such a crazy point of view to think that was terrible and to want the British out of that place. Yeah. That doesn't mean that I'm in favor of things that necessarily happen. So, but all that to say, I didn't live there. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, but that was an interesting take on it, and I had never thought of it that way before. So, if you are an Irish American, I would say read the book, at least for that part, because it's an interesting take.
Yeah.
You're grinning at me like I'm being foolish.
No, not at all.
Or get the audiobook and like fast forward to that part, because it's really Very, very long. Let's see. What else did I want to say? So Sean Bean dies in this, unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
We're going to try to figure out what's his percentage on the movies that he dies in. It's pretty high.
Yeah, it was something like 20 movies he's died in or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
This one, he's almost to the end. It's like 5 minutes before the end that he dies.
Yeah, it's let's see. Total count is 25, at least 25. Iconic deaths. Let's see. Boromir, of course, in The Lord of the Rings. Ned Stark in Game of Thrones. Alec in GoldenEye. Odysseus in Troy. He actually survives, but is often cited in the meme.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's.
He died in Snowpiercer. Apparently, The City Is Ours. I didn't see.
He died in. No, he didn't. He didn't die in National Treasure. I take it back. He was arrested. Didn't die.
He dies in Black Death with Nicolas Cage for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, so
he dies a lot.
He fulfills his legacy.
He's also one of those actors where, and I think Jerry Butler's like this too. My good friend Jerry.
Jerry, yeah.
Where he hit his stride later in his life, you know, like in his 40s, 50s, whatever, where he had his biggest roles. You know, I think it was, for Jerry, it was 30s. But my point is, then you look back and you go, oh, this guy's been in stuff. A lot of stuff, like, this guy was in stuff, and I just didn't realize who he was. Like, he was just another, and it makes you realize that, like, there's just a bunch of anonymous faces in Hollywood, and then something happens, and, you know, and you're like, oh, that guy's a good actor.
Yeah.
And then you realize that, like, oh, this guy was in GoldenEye. He was in Patriot Games.
He's been good this whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my favorite things is when you watch older movies and you're like, oh, there's that guy and that guy and that guy and that guy, except they weren't that guy. Then they were just taking short roles in the background of movies to pay the bills, and then only later, you know, and the odds are there's way more that guys that you don't recognize, but
yeah, you're like, wait, Timothée Chalamet was the son in Interstellar? What? You know, stuff like that. Yeah. Like, oh, wow.
Speaking of, it's that guy. One person that I haven't mentioned yet is Samuel L. Jackson is in this.
Yeah.
Being not very Sam Jackson-y.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a little bit of attitude at the end.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And with his actual hairline, which I think is pretty.
Oh, really? I didn't.
Yeah, he's like got a bald spot on his crown, and he's got that thing where he's almost got an island of hair in the front. It's still barely connected.
Okay.
Yeah, like, you know, it's just, that's a shocking thing to see. Like, he's not wearing a hairpiece or anything. Like, he just is,
and hasn't shaved his head yet. He's okay. Yeah, I feel like his career shifted a lot after Pulp Fiction. He was like, I can't play normal people anymore.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I mean, his association with Quentin Tarantino, did a lot, because he does Jackie Brown after that. Yeah, and it just became a thing. Like, this is, you know, that, and that movie was kind of a career maker for a couple of people, Ving Rhames as well. You know, so that was just one of those movies that really set Jackson on his career path, and I imagine he probably loves it, but he probably also got typecast as that character for the next 30 years.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes he's like, I just want to play a naval officer who loves his wife and his best friend. That's all.
Yell, motherfucker.
And does things like delivers orders of the Purple Heart to people. Yeah, that's so.
Yeah.
This movie makes me want to visit Annapolis so much, because there's a couple of scenes right in the middle where they're in Annapolis at the Naval Academy and then around there, and this just looks, I mean, gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
so charming. And then their house, oh my god,
oh yeah,
such house envy. It's right on the water. It's so remote. It's the kind where, like, you can stand on the porch. It's like they're all going to an outing and they see cars coming, and Kathy's like, oh, I know what this means.
Yeah.
I'm not going back to that life, Jack. You can't go back to the CIA. Well, then a couple days later, he's like, I'm going back to the CIA because they helped my family.
Yeah. But also she's like, do whatever you got to do to get revenge.
You get him. Yeah. It's very,
yeah.
very Lady Macbeth.
Yeah. But yeah, it is like, it's a New England sort of house.
Yeah. Oh, it's
on the water, big palatial.
It's gorgeous. And so often I look at characters in movies and I'm like, oh my God, we're older than they are.
Yeah.
And yet they have that house and we don't.
Well,
Although that house, so in this, I'm not sure if she is in all the versions, but in this version, Kathy is an eye surgeon.
Yeah, yeah.
Eye surgeon money bought that house.
Yeah. Also, when I was talking earlier about this movie, like, meandering, there's no reason to show her an eye surgery.
No.
Like, but they just go out of their way to be, to show, just like, I have a 4:00.
The kid went through.
Look at this eye. Push my 4:00.
The kid went through a plate glass window.
Yeah.
I need to see the retinal scan.
Like, I love, like, it works if in the sense that they are setting up a Jack Ryan universe, right? You have to do in the first movie, which this was not the first movie, but it was the first movie of this like reboot.
Yeah, and I don't think Kathy shows up very much in the first one, right? I know she's your favorite Gates McFadden.
Yes.
But I don't think she has. I don't think she figures in it very much.
Hunt for Red October is 90% on the submarine.
I've tried to watch it. It's just so dull.
I don't know how or why, but I remember watching that in the theater and being just bored to tears.
Yeah, it's not exciting.
Somebody took me to that as like a 10-year-old or something. Yeah. But so I understand that on the one hand, like in the first movie of a series, you have to do a little world building. But yeah, it's just another one of those things. The other thing I wanted to mention when you're talking about how beautiful Annapolis was and all that stuff, this movie does a great job with what today would be really simple drone shots of like landscapes and stuff.
Yeah.
But they do some like what must have been crazy expensive helicopter pan shots and stuff of the campus and stuff. And it's just great. And it's one of those things where that sort of stuff was a hallmark of movies that wanted to be taken seriously, but were also like wanted to show that they were expensive, like these big sweeping helicopter shots and stuff. It's no circling around two guys having a conversation, but it's crazy to see that stuff, and then also to think now like a $400 drone could do that same shot in a student film. And maybe even a better version of that shot in some student film or some independent movie that someone's making for $10K or something in their spare time. But yeah, I really love the couple of sweeping helicopter shots in this. Just Philip Noyce, just a solid filmmaker.
Yeah. One other thing that I wanted to mention. So soon after we get these beautiful overhead shots of Annapolis. So Sean Miller and company have come to Annapolis to try to kill all the Ryans. And one henchman and Annette are attacking Jack in Annapolis as they go into his car, and they fail. And Ryan realizes, oh my God, they're here. Because he's learned that Sean has escaped, but everybody was like, it's not going to come to America. Don't worry about it.
To come after you.
Yeah. Oh, well, he is crazy.
Yes.
So he's trying to reach Kathy. Well, Kathy has picked up Sally at school. The most adorable, like it's like Madeline.
Those outfits,
with like berets and yellow tights and everything, and it's just, and again, like you don't need all that, but it's just it's very cute.
Yeah.
She picked her up from school, and they're going home, and Miller and somebody else are tailing them on the highway. They were gonna. I don't remember what their plan is, but they're tailing them on the highway, and they got this big old panel van, and Miller is leaning out the window and trying to shoot at them on the highway with all those other cars around.
Yeah,
and he causes enough chaos that Kathy loses control of the car and runs into one of these. It's like barrels that are right at
the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was listening to a podcast talking about Speed. Yeah. Made around the same time. Do you remember the part where the Jack Traven has hijacked that nice sports car, and he's got the guy with him,
Yeah.
and he gets on the jumps on the bus from the car, and the driver is losing control of that and runs into same thing.
Yeah.
Well, this reminded me of that. They were talking about that part of the thing. So in that one, the guy is just sitting there, like shaking his head, like, "Oh, let me get this water off me. Okay, I'm totally fine." You know, in this one, Kathy has a concussion. Sally, it's touch and go, and she loses her spleen. And I was like, this is like 2 years apart. We made these movies. Did we? The other sides of the country, are these, bollards that much more dangerous than the ones in California? I don't know. What's going on?
I do seem to remember the speed guy hitting a whole lot more barrels.
And it's a lot more water.
And a lot more water.
Yeah.
And this may not have been anywhere. I think this was like 4 or something. So, the effectiveness of the water barrels maybe the more you have, the more effective it is. I don't know.
Maybe, or the more protective or something. I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't have noticed that except I had been listening to that and I was like, wait a minute. What? This is the same thing. How does it
that it is it's plot armor for the very important sports car guy.
Right.
Like, he can't be hurt. We don't want to have to deal with that storyline where now the rogue cop injures man in stolen sports car.
Speed is when they were talking about that, they were like, what is the insurance bill at the end of this? Because many, like the bus clips so many cars as it's going on, and doesn't injure anybody, but just the automobile damage is like astronomical. It would bankrupt the city if everyone made a claim.
And it's funny when sometimes like sequels deal with that, like Ghostbusters 2 very explicitly deals with how much their shenanigans cost not only them but the city. And I think there are other movies too. I think there might be one of the Marvel movies that talks about the cost of cleaning up after the initial Avengers movie where the aliens invade. And there's a whole subplot in one of the Spider-Man movies about how there's like an industry that's grown up around salvaging all this alien tech that fell from the sky during this giant battle and stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
It's always interesting when movies sort of nod to that stuff in their sequels and whatnot. Like,
I do.
These have real world consequences.
I do enjoy that. So, well, I know in Speed 2 they didn't do that because I haven't seen it, but I know Keanu Reeves is not back, and there's just clean slate.
Yes,
and of course it failed spectacularly.
Yes, naturally.
So, let's see, what else did we? I didn't mention him, but James Earl Jones is nice in this.
Yeah, he has a cup of coffee in this movie.
Yeah. I think he has a bigger role in Clear and Present Danger. But Greer is just a nice character, shows up a couple different ways in the Ryan verse, and James Earl Jones is always pretty good.
Oh yeah. He's just kind of he's just kind of there to be like
wise.
Yeah, and to be like an ally to Jack in a couple of different situations. Like he helps him get his job back, and then he's kind of like when Ryan is presenting the PowerPoint on the camp and why they're pretty sure that it's the guys they want to target, he's like, I just need you to tell me you're as sure as you can be.
And at first he's like, are you sure, Jack? Are you sure? And Brian's like, not 100%. And then he's like, are you sure as you can be? That's fine. And I was like, that's not what I expected to happen, but okay. Yeah. And then they go in and they just kill a whole bunch of people, and but not the people they want.
Yes, because they just left. I guess they just missed them. Darn
surprise! Yep, they just ran out for milk.
Yep,
they'll be back. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I have to say, I'm glad that you're not in the CIA.
Yeah, it was close. I almost was.
You were considering it.
Yeah. It was that or UPS. And I was like,
And UPS had the better benefits. So.
Well, it was only 4 hours a day. And it was union. So I had really good benefits.
That's true. I'm sure the CIA doesn't have a union.
Yeah.
You're just on your own.
You're
an independent contractor.
It's a lot of work, repurposing satellites.
That's true. You gotta learn different languages and
circling boobies. And...
I had not realized that's what he said until this watch. He's just like, tits.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good.
I also I think at some point they realize that Cooley has left England and they think he might be going there. And so they're looking at the satellite and they're like, that person's kind of pink. That looks like a new arrival to
new
you.
arrival. Yeah. Yeah. But that's a good kind of bit of spycraft, hey, we can tell that this guy hasn't been out here like the rest of these folks who have already burned and crusted over, or have learned their lesson and are
putting on sunscreen or
long sleeves or whatever.
But this does fall victim to the classic, Hollywood thing of, can you enhance that picture? Enhance. And you're like, oh, we can see that she's got a tattoo and this tiny little necklace she has on. No.
And the funny thing is, they're doing this in this is a time before Windows. So they're doing this on where they're literally using the arrow keys to arrow over and arrow up a square on screen. There's no mouse, right? Yeah, there's no mouse. And then hitting spacebar and then it all gurgles for a minute and then shows the picture. As someone who was trained in graphic design in the late 90s,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, the technology wasn't like that then.
You can't add pixels to an image.
Right.
If it only got 16, it only has 16.
That is one of the first things they do. They're teaching you about images, and they're like, this is a rasterized image. What that means is there's only so much resolution,
mm-hmm.
and it doesn't get any clearer as you zoom in.
Yes. I am glad, though, that everyone is in on that joke, and Hollywood keeps doing it, but all that we, the audience, we just get to go enhance, because we know that it's not actually.
Yeah.
So
and sometimes it's just
I'm
fun,
fine with that. But
sometimes it's just fun. We're in our show about cops, just for plot device.
Just go with it.
I just need to know that this person is the person we need to go after. Enhance.
Yeah, we're not going to do the 16-hour road trip to do whatever. Because
this movie teaches you actual investigative work is kind of boring
mm-hmm.
and isn't super exciting.
Yeah,
but I think Clear and Present Danger maybe kind of made me not realize that Jack Ryan wasn't always a borderline action hero, because he's not action heroing in that movie exactly, but there's he gets shot at with an RPG. There's a lot more going on.
He does a lot more. Yeah, he's more in the mix.
In the actual action.
Yeah, here he's not really. There's an assassin that comes after him, but he.
It really is Condor. 3 Days of the Condor. It's him getting his feet and learning and doing hardcore investigating and then moving the pawns on, moving the pieces without really running around with a rifle and a bulletproof vest on.
Yeah.
And stuff.
I kind of wish they had made more movie versions of the books, because after this there wasn't anything until 2010. Well, no, so there's this and Clear and Present Danger.
Yeah.
And then oh no, Sum of All Fears was 2002.
Yeah.
And that is early Ryan in his career. He's just starting out. He's just started dating Kathy. So I don't think it's really, it's like a book plot, but not really.
Yeah.
And then 2010 was Chris Pine with Shadow Recruit, and that's a retcon of all the Ryan stuff.
Yeah.
And then the show on Amazon is just completely whole cloth, I think.
Yeah.
And it really, by the end, I'm like, I don't know who this is. This isn't Jack Ryan.
Yeah. Cool story, but this isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would like to see the movies kind of deal with the Ryan verse and the plot and the his rise in power, and then the dynasty, and then that kind of thing.
Well, and I think if the book is like this but more like this,
mm-hmm.
then it can be one of those things where it comes up against the fact that this stuff is interesting to read about.
Mm-hmm.
It can be interesting to read about someone following the clues and putting the pieces together, and that can go on for page after page after page after page. But the language of films is such that stuff needs to happen.
Yeah.
Happen with a little more punch. And when you really invest a lot of time into I'm pulling the magnifying glass over and zooming in, and all that's
Mm-hmm.
like it starts to drag a little bit,
It's
like a
hard to
bunch of
translate. Yeah.
guys sitting looking through papers,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a struggle. I think that this movie pulls it off, but it just barely pulls it off
Mm-hmm.
for an audience right now. Like this would have been par for the course in the 90s of movies that just have like these long story driven exposition scenes that are just like people finding out information and stuff. Movies have just, the pace has quickened of movies and how quickly plot things, plot points need
Mm-hmm.
to happen. And so, yeah, like I think this movie still survives in today's day and age, but it's just barely.
Mm-hmm.
It's hanging on by a thread at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe no more Clance verse
Well, or you
movies.
just so even Clance, right? He has moved past all of this. I mean, you see like I mean, obviously Tom Clancy's dead,
Mm-hmm.
but you see what the Jack Ryan character became.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tom Clancy name is all over a bunch of video games.
Mm-hmm.
The more recent of which was one about a post-apocalyptic. It's a Black Friday super flu that gets spread through tainted money, and New York basically becomes a isolated. Manhattan becomes isolated, and they're sending these agents in. They like activate these agents that are like sleeper agents all over the city that apparently the CIA has, and now you're one of them, and you got to bring order back to the city, and you're running around this New York City with piles of garbage and all these street gangs, not as cool as the Warrior street gangs, but all these street gangs. Like there's a street gang of garbage men who all use flamethrowers and stuff. So it's no AC Turnbulls or Baseball Furies, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, and like that's the stuff that he has. His name is now getting put on, and his name gets. There's a game called Rainbow Six Siege, which is literally a game about you're a group of special forces guys, and there's a bunch of hostiles that are holed up in a house, and the hostiles get to fortify the house, and the special forces have to breach it, and that's the whole. And then like the characters are all kind of slightly over the top, like a guy with a huge sledgehammer to bust through the walls, and a guy who drives a drone car around, and it's like the stuff that his name has gotten put on has modernized from some of the first Tom Clancy video games were like Splinter Cell, where it's like you're an agent who can't be seen, you need to sneak, and you have a silencer on your gun, and you have to hide the bodies that you shoot because you can't even be spotted. You're doing espionage. And in now to like there's 30 seconds left in the round, and you better plant that explosive charge on the safe that's holding the whatever.
It's a little bit like when we watched Color Out of Space, we talked about H.P. Lovecraft, and how there's kind of the Lovecraft verse, and it sort of grows and grows and grows, and then so what we would say now is Lovecraftian.
Yeah,
very little in common with the original. Work, and so, same with Clancy, and there are probably others that I can't even like. I don't know, like Edgar Allan Poe, sort of like there's the original sort of set of Poe works, and then we've just attached all this meaning
over the
to
years,
it,
it's
and mood and everything.
Like
and
he's
so
been personified in movies, and
and there's all these legends and this and that, and like I don't know, Jane Austen kind of has that feel too. Like we've just taken the work, and there's so many references attached to it and connotations, and it's just, and it's so you can still love the original works, but any modern interpretation is going to be so completely different that it's not really recognizable.
Also, of course, the V.C. Andrews verse.
Yes,
that's out of control.
Oh, do I know the V.C. Andrews verse?
Yes.
Let me tell you. Oh, geez. Well, that's why I always laugh when people are like, we can't possibly have these dirty books in libraries. Well, first of all, they're not really that dirty, but also like middle school kids are going to figure it out. There were V.C. Andrews books being passed around my classroom, and I went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
Like, kids are going to read, and believe me, there were certain pages in the books that were dog-eared because we knew where the good stuff was.
You know where the good stuff is. Yeah.
Well, there's no good stuff like that in Patriot Games. They do have sex and conceive a baby, but that's
off screen.
Yes, it's all very And they're married,
Yeah.
It's very chaste. Well, anyway, folks, we would love to know what you think about Patriot Games, either the book or the movie or anything in the Clancyverse, really.
Clance.
Who's your favorite Jack Ryan and why is it Harrison Ford?
Yeah, what weapon do you use in the Division 2?
I don't even know what that means, but sure, you can tell us that too. You can get in touch with us in a couple different ways. You can send us an email at ysmypodcast. That's YSMY for You Show Me Yours. We're at gmail.com or the same handle on Facebook. You can DM us or you can find our feed where we have links to all of our latest episodes. In 2026, we have episodes every single week. The first Wednesday of the month, like right now, we are doing our standard YSMY thing and talking about movies that we loved before our first date. And then all the other Wednesdays of the month, we are doing a rewatch of Degrassi Junior High, the Canadian teen fave from the late 80s, early 90s. Next time, first week of April, Dave will be hosting. And do you know what you are going to bring next month, Dave?
I do. Yeah, I'm pulling all the big guns out. So we are going to go from Predator to RoboCop.
Ooh, finally! I've been waiting for this one.
Yes, RoboCop. I've talked up RoboCop a little bit, so we're gonna see if it can live up to the.
All I know about RoboCop is the line "Bitches leave."
Bitches leave.
Yeah. Is it? That's Eric's dad.
Eric's dad. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's all I got.
Red Foreman says "bitches leave."
That's all I got.
Canonically, it's Red Foreman.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Eric Foreman's. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, well then, bitches, be here next month for RoboCop.
Yeah.
In the meantime, this has been You Show Me Yours. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye. The You Show Me Yours theme song is Uplifting Electronic Indie by Winnie the Moog from filmmusic.io.